Yo, yo, yo. Really? Are you serious? Oh, wow. I have a lesson for you today that I personally learned the hard way. A mistake that I made in my investing career as a landlord. And I don't want you to be that guy. I want you to learn from my mistakes rather than repeat my mistakes. So let's have a quick chat with Chatto about due diligence. So this is going to be a quick video, but there's a couple things I wanted to teach you guys regarding due diligence on property. So I'm going to start with the example of where I screwed up. So I'm out building my rental portfolio and I come across a property and the guy's like, it's a rooming house. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a rooming house. Cool. So he's like, yeah, it brings in $2,300 a month. You know, the rooms are rented, I forget what the exact amounts were, 400, 500 per room. And then there was like a bigger like apartment type thing in there. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. Look at that. And so I get the property under contract. He did have a pretty good price on it, right? He had a pretty good price on it. And I get the property under contract. He wanted a quick cash closing. He wanted to get done quickly. I'm like, yeah, let's get this done. This is a good deal. I'm going to add it to my rental portfolio. So I get the property and I close on it. And I skipped some due diligence because I was in a rush and I was excited about the property. And I get the property and I close on it. So then I'm like, I was in a rush, it was a quick closing. We got to do a transfer inspection with the city. No problem. I go down to the city, I start filling out the paperwork, I hand it over to the nice lady, and she says, a rooming house? I'm like, yeah. She's like, hold on. She goes and she checks the paperwork. She comes back, she's like, this isn't a rooming house. I'm like, what do you mean it's not a rooming house? She's like, no, this isn't a rooming house. We had all these paperwork on file. We've gone after the previous owner multiple times for keeping it as a rooming house. We've issued him summons and citations. This isn't a rooming house. I'm like, okay. Let me see what I can do. So now I'm like, I'm stuck with this rooming house with tenants, and you can't just kick tenants out. But fortunately, I guess, the good thing was that in this particular situation, that these people were not very good at keeping up with the rent. And over a fairly short amount of time, all of them were behind. I had to file eviction, and unfortunately, I couldn't file eviction on a whole house as a single family. I had to, according to my attorney at least, had to file on each person individually because they each had separate leases. And I had to file on everybody, and it's like, luckily it's only $300 to file, and you multiply that by 6, and now you got $1,800 just to file on everybody, and another little bit to get them out. There's actually one woman that was a good payer in there, and she was actually a good tenant. So what I was able to do was evict the other 5 tenants. So it was like $1,500 plus all the other drama associated with it. Got all the other tenants evicted except for her. And I released the property to her as the one tenant, as a single family property. I released it to her. Now, it was bringing in, quote unquote, $2,300 a month. Now I had it rented to her for $1,200 a month. And I was able to now go to the city, mark it as a single family. She is the only tenant on the lease. She's the only tenant, single family. I think it was her and her daughter. But she was the only tenant, and she had the whole house. Now, I was able to get it registered again as a single family, and I was able to have a cash flowing asset. It wasn't the cash flow I was expecting, but it still was a cash flowing asset. So that's like the big lesson for me that I learned, like, wow, I need to verify that I'm buying what I think I'm buying. I need to verify it's a 4-unit, verify it's a 2-unit, verify it's a rooming house. Like, I got to make sure all my I's are dotted and T's are crossed, right? So and the good news is I learned from my mistake. So what ended up happening was, a little while later, I found a property motivated seller, and it seemed like a really good deal. I ran the numbers. It was a commercial space with 4 apartments above it. I'm like, cool, this is great. Ran the numbers, made the guy an offer, and luckily I did my due diligence. And I come to find out that the property is listed with the city, and they have the property as a 2-unit residential, not 4-unit. Now that's a big difference, right? So I talked to the guy, and he's like, yeah, it was actually in his family for 70 years. So the deed hasn't changed ownership in 70 years. It was his dad's house, his dad's property, and then kind of got quick claim deeded to him at some point or whatever. But the point is, back in the 70s, his dad took a 2 unit and made it into a 4 unit. And it's been that way for the past 50 years, but it is not a 4 unit, right? So sometimes it is what it is not what it is, right? Even though it is physically and rented as a 4 unit, it's only a 2 unit. So that being said, I could not pay him as if it was a 4 unit. I would have to buy the property as if it was a 2 unit. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make it work out. And I never obtained that property, but I would have been in some interesting situations potentially, because in the area where the property is located, if the property changes hands, they need to come in and inspect the entire property. And when they come in and inspect the entire property, they're going to see it's 4 units and not 2. I guess what he was doing is he had it registered as a 2 unit, and he would just say, hey, apartment 1 or apartment 2, and then he would just take them to whatever unit he wanted to turn over and get a new certificate of occupancy on. And that worked for him for 50 years, I guess, or however long the rules have been what the rules are. So I learned my lesson, thankfully, and I was able to avoid a costly mistake. Now, and the reason this kind of came up for me is something I wanted to mention to you guys is a friend of mine reaches out to me. He's like, oh, I got this 8-unit rooming house. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and I said to him, first thing I said, I'm like, did you confirm that it's an 8-unit rooming house? Like, is it registered as a rooming house? Like, what's the deal? So he gets back to me the next day, and of course, oh yeah, I found out it's a duplex. I'm like, oh, so you're not making all that money. You're not making that, whatever, it's $4 or $5 grand a month, whatever it's supposed to be bringing in. And I'm like, you got to make an offer if it's a duplex. And the funny thing is, right, the guy was asking like $150,000 for it, and the guy's like, oh, I just got a appraisal for 60. Like, yeah, appraisal for 60? Why are you asking 150? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I kind of wanted to point out, though, the importance of confirming that the property is what it is. With the city and the local township, we have purchased rooming houses, and they were legal rooming houses. And there's things that you need to know about rooming houses, but that's a whole nother video. But anyway, I just wanted to point out the importance of confirming that the property is what you think it is before you close on it. Right? That's what due diligence is for. Like, you need to make sure you confirm everything. And I could probably make a video that's more in depth on due diligence, but I just really wanted to emphasize, especially after seeing this deal that came across my desk the other day, that the property actually is what it is. And with that, without further ado, like, hopefully this was of value. It's a shorter video. Hopefully it was of value to you. If you have any other questions or any other due diligence items, maybe put them in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. And potentially I'm going to do a nice longer form video on due diligence and all the different things to look at. But that being said, thank you for watching another episode of Chat with Chatto.